Hello and welcome to today's talk session. My name is Deidre Moss and I am the host of Can We Talk? I'm an educator, a motivator, and a talk connoisseur. Today, our talk session will be centered around the process to legalize marijuana in the Bahamas. My guest today is Rittman McKinney, and he is very familiar with this topic. He will join me today in a talk about the legalization of marijuana in the Bahamas. So at this time, I will pass the virtual mic to him and have him introduce himself.
Good night, everyone. Yeah, my name is the Honorable Priest Rickman McKinney.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Is there anything else you would like to say about yourself?
I'm a Rastafarian, as you know. I'm a member of Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. Um, I'm also a part of the branch in the Bahamas as an ambassador for the branch in the Bahamas and the international body of Bobo Shanti, which is the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress worldwide government. I'm also a part of that. I'm a commissioner for the commission for the Marijuana Commission. So I guess that's the reason why you are waiting on your show. Um, I could go on and on, but so far, that's me.
Thank you, Mr. McKinney. Can we talk about legalizing marijuana in the Bahamas?
You could put some questions to me. I'll try my best to give some answers as best I can.
Thank you. Thank you. So our talk is centered around the decision made by the government of the Bahamas to complete legalization of marijuana for medicinal use. So this would make it legal to grow marijuana in the country um, for local use and export. So on the heels of that announcement, the government also indicated that it is actively working toward expunging the records of young persons who would have been arrested for minor offenses, namely minimum marijuana use. With that information, we can begin our talk. And so, my first question is um, why do you think marijuana should be legalized in the Bahamas, and how would it benefit Bahamians and the Bahamas in general? Do you think marijuana should be legalized in the Bahamas? And like I said, how would it benefit Bahamians, in your opinion?
Okay, well, ask me if I think marijuana should be legalized. I mean, to ask a Rasta man that, I mean, naturally we want sacrament legalized, license and tax. As you know, that's the trend in the whole world today now. You realize that it's an important plant, it's a miracle plant, it's a healing plant. It's not just for recreation, but medical. Um, if you will know, for a very long time, the Rastafarian community was agitating for their sacrament rights. As you know, the Anglican Church, the Catholic Church have their sacrament rights. And so the Rastaman know from a very long time that the cannabis was a part of our sacrament. Medicinal sacrament would be used internal and external before even the Bahamas government was considering legalizing, or even any part of the diaspora was considering legalizing the Rastafarian in Jamaica, and sure the diaspora was agitating for the freedom to use the cannabis as a natural plant, as a healing plant. So, of course, we welcome the first step of the legalization for medical use. But at the same time, the Rastaman and the Rasta community was also agitating for the cannabis to be used for our um, um, spiritual use, which is our sacrament. We want to be respected because we know that's a constitutional rights. In Jamaica, the Rastaman have that rights, and the government respect it and protect the constitutional rights for the Rasta to have the cannabis as their sacrament. Even in other parts of the Caribbean, such as I think St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I think Bermuda, but the Primacy, Glastonbury, and Antigua. So these places are making that step already to um, fully legalize it across the board. Antigua, I think they legalized across the board for even recreation. So even our big brother to the north, the United States, so almost almost 40 states that legalized from a state level legalized cannabis. Some state that's for medical, and majority states for medical and recreational also. So we know for a fact that there's something is coming, this is something going. So I think the Bahamas is a little bit behind, but we give thanks for that first step going forward. And we hope that it open the door for the rest of our rights would need to be um, handed to the people. And we give thanks for the sponsor of records. Um, but places not only for the small amounts, but other places who been um, locked up over the years for even a more bigger quantity of even £5, £10 and beyond. Those records should be dispensed also as there's bunch of records for forgery and other crimes. So it shouldn't be just a small amount of the marijuana. And what is a small amount? Less than 2 ounces or less than an ounce. So they never declare that. So that need to clarify what is a small amount to be dispensed on people records who was charged with the um, marijuana possession or intensive supply.
Thank you so much for sharing, Mr. McKinney. And so I would also like to make note and apologize for your screen. It's just a bit dark, but we understand what the situation is.
I apologize myself.
Yeah,
I'm in the only room I like to have right now.
you're right, understood. But we're so thankful to have you to be a part of this session. But I wanted to share a clip with you, and I want to get your thoughts. So let me just pull it up. I'm going to share my screen and pull that up.
But first, New York's marijuana moment as the state signs off on legal weed. Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Rana Novini in for Adam. 4 days after Albany lawmakers revealed their bill to legalize marijuana, pot is now legal in New York. Governor Cuomo signed it into law
I
today.
see. So dark.
Today is a historic day. New York
I'm
is now
sorry?
the 16th state to legalize recreational
So I see it's
marijuana.
very dark.
Don't
I'm so
expect
sorry.
cannabis dispensaries to
Yeah.
pop up overnight. News 4 investigative reporter Chris Glorioso is live in White Plains to explain why. Chris.
Well, it will be months before someone 21 years and up can walk into a store and legally buy marijuana in New York. That's because the state has to build an entirely new bureaucracy, a new office dedicated to building the rules of the road. And that means a store like this, a CBD store in White Plains that would potentially want to become a marijuana dealer, will have to wait. Lots of unanswered questions for potential dealers, lots of unanswered questions for smokers, and lots of unanswered questions for non-smokers who may soon catch their first whiff of legal pot on a New York street. Now that pot is legal in New York, CBD and vape shop owner Michael Bowers is considering getting into the marijuana business. But he has lots of questions about how this all will work, including the cost for a New York license, insurance, security, and don't forget the product.
You have to have a lawyer, you have to have, fees, you have to pay, for the actual location, you have to pay for the security, you have to pay for inventory, you have to pay for, it's not just.
Okay, Mr. McKinney. So we have basically the gist of what the video is about. But as applied in the Bahamas, I believe that you are a proponent for the legalization of marijuana. But as it pertains to beyond the medicinal use factor, you think it should be legalized in Bahamas beyond that scope?
Yes, that's what I said. They should be legalized, license and tax. I mean, from for adult use. They won't say they won't say the other word, but they'll say for adult use. The recreational use, they won't really want to say that, but that's what we need. Um, and it's a lucrative business. We shouldn't get left behind. Um, it already here. Um, of course, we have to be mindful of the young ones who may have a more easy access to it. But from my point of view, it's have easy access to it now, illegal. Um, I think if we get legal, you'll be able to um, control it more better than how it is now, and more. It'll be a more lucrative job, and this is where the world is going. And it's a proper plan that help benefit for not just medical use, but that's something you can eat. Just eat the plant. It's good. It's good in every fact. It's good for the hair, internal and external. So it's good for people with glaucoma, have epilepsy. It's benefit round and round for this plant. It's a hemp quick for cement. It make textile for clothes. So it's a big benefit across the board. So there's no reason why the Bahamas should get left behind. So I feel as though it should be legalized in all form and be regulated, licensed and taxed. And so we can stop putting the burden on our young person, locking them up and saying that we just punch in the record, but at the same time, we still locking them up. So why just punch the record and at the same time, we still getting locked up? I don't see the sense in it. That's what's going on now. But of course, it's not legal as yet. I mean, let's do the drafting, and I hope that very soon it reach back Parliament and be there where we don't know how we're going to go when it comes to the farmers who are going to be able to get license. But I think it's rooms for different sectors of license, from farming, from growing, from exporting, from security. So it's a wide range of opportunities within the cannabis industry going forward. So I hope that the Bahamian people really benefit.
Yeah, and one major point that I heard you make is, we don't want to get left behind. We see so many countries they're jumping on board with legalizing the plant. So like you said, we don't want to get left behind, but it's so many other factors that have to be taken into account as we move toward legalizing marijuana in the Bahamas. So let's look at some figures. So I want to talk about, if you are aware of anything that the government is doing to ensure that Bahamians may profit monetarily from the medicinal marijuana industry.
Well, as we all heard, the Prime Minister said when he announced it that they will have license for person to grow, farmers, and to package, to manufacture, to export. So um, how how wide the range of that is, we don't know as yet. And the government is like riding a bicycle and fixing it at the same time, or flying a plane and fixing it at the same time, but there's no presidency to see to really follow. I mean, they can follow a Jamaican model, but Jamaican model saying that before they would bring out medical, they make sure respect the constitutional rights, which is the Rastaman and rights to have this. Some people was being victimized, profiled, and, and castrated for years. So before they go forward and legalizing this, they should respect the Rastaman constitutional rights, and that's what we feel as though the government's not doing at this moment. I hope that in the very early future that'll be something they table also, to respect the constitutional rights that Rasta have, because it's already there. Um, and that's what we're looking forward to, have a proper
I-
layout of the cannabis industry to the Bahamian people and how we can benefit, and they bring persons to let us know the best way forward if we need some expert from Jamaica or from someplace else. But I think we have persons here like myself and others who was Bahamian, who come and have a company in the United States will come here and assist with helping us the way forward, the best way for the behemoth, the benefit. So I think we have those places who could assist.
Thank you. And let's look at some figures. So when we look to our neighbors, according to fortunately.com in 2017, medicinal marijuana in the U.S. garnered 5.1 million dollars in revenue by 2025, it is projected that the industry will grow to 13.5 billion. And let's look into the region in the Caribbean. CARICOM.org lists a number of countries in the region that are decriminalizing marijuana and legalizing its use. Those countries include Grenada and Dominica, and I know you would have spoken about Jamaica. St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Jamaica have already passed medicinal marijuana legislation. Therefore, the use of medicinal marijuana and the legalization and decriminalization of marijuana is at the forefront of a regional and international agenda. But what is the government of the Bahamas doing to allow the average Bahamian to profit from this industry? And as you would have mentioned before, the government has mentioned plans to give license to Bahamians. So you would have mentioned that before. But again, this seems to be an industry that we can profit from, and we're looking into how can Bahamians benefit if we're going to open it up, if we're going to legalize this industry, how will Bahamians benefit from it? And if you have any further thoughts, we'll go into our next question, but would you like to add?
I see again, the benefit for Bahamians that's to be involved. That's the government to make sure that we the biggest shareholder, and if we need to make sure that Bahamian people get land, those who want to farm, get expertise, get finance to make sure that we benefit from the industry. And it's something the government should invest in and invest in Bahamian that we really benefit. So I don't see no reason why the government will put it in a way where the women don't benefit. Um, so I don't know if we can really how the number houses are where you have to get a license and it costs you so much money to get a license. So you have to be maybe a a first class or middle class to be able to get a license. So we don't know what the price of the license, how we're going to go. But according to the Prime Minister, I said that it will benefit Bahamians. So I know that I heard that I don't get political, but that it's the time now for the poor people. So I hope that um, the small man be able to benefit, and that's the most important thing because it's them who've been marginalized over the years, and that's to bring in the big pharmaceutical giants to benefit from the medical because we have to see how the medical can also benefit the small man to go it to help um, sell it to the pharmaceutical giants either here or abroad. Well, that need to be fully clarified from the government, so I can't speak on that before the government. We just hope that it really set to benefit the majority of Bahamians. So that's something we just hope for, and agitate for, and demand. Really, not to really hope and demand that we be the bad benefactors of this lucrative business coming forward from the cannabis industry.
Thank you, Mr. McKinney. And with the legalization comes the potential for use and misuse. So do you believe that the legalization of marijuana in the Bahamas can potentially lead to use and misuse?
I say misuse is using now, and then the misuse. Um, the FDA Surgeon General declared that marijuana hasn't caused a death no time in history. So, of course, you say that the young mind use it too quick. It may get them slow. But I come from a Rasta community, and we don't give marijuana to kids or nothing like that, or young minds. But we don't see the marijuana as something harmful to people. Of course, if something you're allergic to or something you can't handle, you leave it alone. Alcohol is legal and taxed, and from 18 years old, you could start drinking. But for one drink, and they found out that they can't handle it, they slow down, they stop. And even just to go back to the sacrament from the Anglican Church or the Catholic Church, they give alcohol to underage children at the age of 13, 12 years old. And alcohol is illegal to minors. Although illegal in this country, but illegal to give minors. And they do give that inside the church. So if they're giving, right now, it's illegal to give minors alcohol, but should the churches exempt? So I feel as though that it will become so where we just worry about that so much. Of course, we put things in place, institutions for persons who may go overboard and use it too much, where they become addictive to them, and so must have things in place. Um, it's like the kids the other day, they said they used the edibles and they used too much and they overdose. They went to the hospital and they sleep it off, and I said it's not no really after effect. So it's not something so dangerous as the way they will make it sound. Um, from my experience, if you drink alcohol, you really cut yourself off from reality, in a sense where you drive under the influence of alcohol, you cause accidents, you cause a lot of death. A person smoke cannabis, that don't happen. They don't go unconscious. They don't black out behind the wheel. They don't lose unconsciousness. So it's total different. So the scary tactics need to really move from the cannabis um, going forward, and know that this something that's not so scary. Something could can benefit, and our kids, like say, if you know that you can't handle it, you leave it alone. That the ones who can't handle alcohol, and some can never smoke, whether they handle it or not. So everybody can never smoke. That's for those who smoke or those who use it for as edibles or however they use it. So it's not something what so harmful. It's never killed no one in history. So you can't overdose on it.
Thank you for sharing. I think you're talking about the stigma that is attached, maybe so much a negative stigma that is attached to the use of marijuana. But I think that with the legalization of marijuana, I think that stigma is kind to gonna decrease. But I'm
over the
glad that
years, over the years, the experience and the time it decreasing because people realizing it's not so like back in the day, or marijuana saying you're crazy and this that, and so it's different now. Because you'd be surprised who taking it right now, from ministers to lawyers to senators to judge to police to immigration. Everyone usually cannabis. From my experience, I know from top to bottom using the cannabis. Um, so it's something that's need to be free up. How do Rastaman say free it up? So that's what need to be done. That's free up.
yeah,
I don't see nothing wrong with it.
I knew when I was growing up in school, it was, kind of drilled in your head that this is bad. You got to stay away from, you got to stay away from this. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. But I'm glad that you would have spoken about the church, because I wanted to bring that question to you about, do you believe that the legalization of marijuana goes against the Bahamas' role as a Christian nation?
Well, when they said, um, no, but when they said it's a Christian nation, that was something never was really established. To see, um, we rule by spiritual um, consciousness, not a Christian nation, but a spiritual nation. Um, so the as a Christian nation is wrong. That's not in our preamble. See, on Christian values, not a really Christian nation. But of course, we have 85% of our Bahamian people is African descent, and we have this new philosophy of Christianity, what we worship under, uh, um, I say, a European concept of Christianity. You see everything white, through a white concept, but majority of us, not all. I mean, some Christians see different. Majority, you see the way they are in the Bible. As we grow up, we see all the pictures, and they say pictures speak 1,000 words, and it shows the way Mary, the way Joseph, the way everything in the Bible. And we even when we shut our eyes and fall down and say our Father prayers, we see a white image in our self-conscious. So we start even when we address white people, we address them more better than we address our own, and we start speaking more polite. We act much better because we're in the presence of God, because we see God through a white lens. So that's and we have to be very mindful of that, because when we do things like that, we become agents that are on destruction. Um, and because we can't see our Savior through a next um, 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 a set of people, or next race. We must see our God through our own race, through our own concept. And that's we can be truly liberated. And with that fact, through a Christian nation, it put this thing on everything with black. Blackout, black tie, black cat, black bed, everything black, everything is black is totally wrong. So and everything white is all right. So we have to come from that concept. That's why even now today you get man bleaching, and I thought I would never see that. So of course our sisters, they bleach, and our brethren, they also start bleaching too. And it's sickening to see how we have this so self-hatred amongst ourselves, and we hate our luck. Our old black mothers are telling us, don't get no more look like me. Get somebody more brighter, more like a coffee, like a cream in a coffee. And these things is true. We see God through a white lens. If we see God through our own black self, we'll have the tendency to love ourselves and study of our glorious past. If we know of our past, we won't have that tendency to hate ourselves. So through the self-hatred, we see God all of ourselves that was taught to us through colonialism and imperialism, through slavery. And since slavery to now, um, we hasn't really transformed ourselves back to ourselves, knowing ourselves as a African queens and kings. So like, I don't want to go too long on that, because that's a story for next time. But we have to know ourselves really and truly to be able to stand and defend our true liberation as a people. And so the Christian concept is, I'm not liking it, because but we have to know ourselves as who we are, and you can see the God in yourself instead of looking for God in the sky or God some yourself. You have to see the God in yourself and see the God through your black spectacles as a royalty opened from the first dynasty, from the first creation, from the first civilization. So you have to know yourself to be able to love yourself. And quicker we get to love ourselves, we'll defend what is ours, even in the Bahamas, because right now in the Bahamas we give out what is ours to us, and when it comes to ourselves, we hold it back from ourselves. But when it comes to others, we give it away. But for ourselves, we say no. So if I call a ministry this morning or tomorrow or Monday, and I speak like I'm American and sound like somebody white, I'll get more attention. But if I sound like Rastaman, then came through the ropes. So these things have to change, and only can change through education. And education is a very serious thing, and we have to educate ourselves from an African perspective. I mean, global right now, but from you have to know yourself, and that's so important.
Thank
So
you.
Rastaman dealing with the hive is just a small part of our liberation. So we can defend the hive, we can defend social justice, human rights. You
Thank
know,
you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McKinney. You definitely said a mouthful, and I think it would be a hot debate, if we were to say this is not a Christian nation. That would be a very, very hot debate. But you
I'm not
mentioned,
saying it's not a Christian nation.
yeah.
I'm saying the concept of the Christianity, you have to
Hmm.
see more in ourselves more, see who we are as Christian and defend the black concept of Christianity, because we're, we're the first concept of anything pertaining to God. We had the God concept come from us. So we have to see God through a black perspective. We have to see the God of Ethiopia, the God of Africa. We can't see the God of Europe who come below the Caucasus Mountain. We have to see ourselves as who we are, the God and gods of light. You have to see God in us. And that's we could be liberated so we could enhance what is ours, love ourselves, love our beauty, and stop um, and look at all of ourselves. That's all it is. That's yes.
Definitely. And you made some very interesting points about some of the things that we have to overcome in our culture. And I heard you said a lot of things that are relevant and it's true within our community. And those are definitely things that we need to talk about. But I don't want us to stray too far from the legalizing marijuana aspect. So I wanted to ask you one more question. So is there anything else that you want to share or talk about as it pertains to your stance on the issue of legalizing marijuana in the country? Is there any other thing that you would like to
Well,
address?
I will say that I will think that the government should make sure the small man have a stake in the industry. That's very important, especially those persons who've been marginalized, who've been locked up, who've been incarcerated. Um, Not even from the small amount, but those who get locked up, but even the big amount, and they could come from over the wilderness and come to the city, or come from underground to on top ground, where they could be a part of the industry now, legal instead of being illegal, and they could slow down some of this illegal and stop some of this crime by bringing these persons to be a part of the industry because they've been the ones who were keeping it going for years. So they should have a stake in it, especially those who don't have no direct criminal record when it comes to heinous crimes, but that's being locked up for a marijuana, and that's just that. They should look into those persons who've been going through this situation for the last 10 years, getting locked up, paying fines, getting locked up, going to jail, getting locked up, paying fines, and the government see that this is something they've been doing for the last 25 years. And the rate crime was that they was in possession of marijuana and selling marijuana. So they should be persons who I think also should benefit from the industry going forward because these are persons who lose some of their families, who lose a lot. So that's the civil, medical, and for the pharmaceutical. It's not just that. And even pharmaceutical, some people smoke it. Even doctor recommends smoking. So it's not just the vapor or the pill or the oil. It's the whole plant. And I feel as though that everyone should benefit who have the interest. That's my take on that.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else you would like to add as it pertains to your community, as it pertains to your platform?
Well, as to stand now, the rest of my still going through oppression, still getting locked up, right? Yesterday, one leading elder, um, to the UN this year, and he said he find a couple of plants and a piece of cannabis, and it's no, to me, it's no discretion at this moment, and I think it should be some discretion to the rest of man who been getting locked up for so long, an elder man and reach almost 60, and you can't rehabilitate him, you can't change him. You have to bring him out of that now because you say that it's a good thing. So I mean, he was doing something good for a very long time because he didn't hate no one. Um, so I feel as though persons like that and others who the government should look at them. These supposed to be the persons who get the license and who to grow to be a part of the industry. So those are the persons the government have to look into, not say because you get locked up with a certain amount, you don't qualify. You need qualify, you get locked up with a small amount, and we don't know what the small amount is all about, or the amount, but it's a small amount. So we look at the government have you some some humane gesture to really help the small man, and the government have to really look into that deep because we'll overlook those persons, and then there'll still be a lucrative business for crime and for those who, because it's hard to stop. if you don't help those set of persons, there'll still be smuggling going on. There'll still be the black market. So we have to bring those persons out of the black market so they could be on front page and be in the real market and be able to benefit, take care of their family, and live happily after, as everyone want to live, and everyone wants justice. So you can't say just leave them out in as a justice. I think it'll be, I don't know what to say what happened to them or how they'll think, because um, everyone have an idea of what is justice. I will think once you have some education. So we need to bring justice to our people. And Rastaman was fighting for social justice for all our life. That's why we say we Rasta to fight for the East down the brain of Babylon, East back Babylon, fight down Babylon, fight for justice for our people. And that's the shot we still on, the fight for justice. So I hope within this industry, some justice be handed to our people.
Well, thank you, Mr. McKinney, for enlightening us today. And you definitely mentioned some points that we would definitely like to explore on Can We Talk? And so I extend the invitation to you.
Thank you. But whenever I could assist again, I hope I have more light and I'll be in a better room next time. And sorry for the long time you've been waiting to get me on your show. So I hope I assist you. I really do hope I assist you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. McKinney. So I would like to thank our listeners for listening to our talk. I would like to thank my guest, Mr. Priest.
It's Whitman McKinney.
Richmond McKinney, yes. And I would like to thank our viewers, like I said, for listening in, like our page for future notifications. Mr. McKinney, do you have a page that we can follow?
Yes, I do. Um, Royal Research. You want my page?
Yeah, do you want to share your page? If you
Just pull up Royal Priest Ambassador and you would link
it should
to my
come
page.
up. Okay, great. So you can comment under our posts, comment under this video. Let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Can We Talk. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Again, Priest Richmond McKinney, I would like to thank you for being a part of this session. And thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for having me. Goodbye, Goodbye, guests.